Hey everyone, this is DWS Darius and welcome to another day in the fish room. So today I want to give you guys a feeding video. It's been a while since I gave you guys a feeding video, and since my last video these guys have certainly grown. They've become more aggressive feeders, and I think it definitely will be entertaining. Now if you saw my last video, that was a fish room tour. I gave you updates on all of my aquariums, all my fish, but since that time it's been like what, a week. There's been quite a few changes. So I told you I was going to catch some of the fish out of this tank, my Lima shovel nose and also my 2 tilapia. I caught them, but of course it wasn't easy in this giant aquarium. I actually had to get inside the tank, and unfortunately I had to take these out and I lost a lot of my plants. Most of the plants were this right here, this wandering Jew, and the thing is this is a vine, and when you rip it all up it's just hard to really put it back together. The good thing is that it gave me an opportunity to plant some different plants. I have another piece laying right here. I planted some ferns back there, so I have plants that will be a little bit more organized, but I lost maybe 100 plants after doing that. But I also had the opportunity to plant some underwater plants. Now that I don't have the tilapia in this aquarium, I could try some underwater plants. I planted these about 2 days ago, and so far they're looking good. I'm even seeing a new leaf already on that tilapia back, that Anubias back there, and the tilapia was eating that one previously. So if that gets in there and starts growing, it's definitely going to look awesome. And if it does do well, I'd say for maybe another week or so, I'll just buy some more and plant it all along that stem or that root. But yeah, today I'm going to give you guys a feeding video. So normally when I feed my fish, I feed Hikari. I got the bags open just because for this video it should be easier. But I feed Hikari Jumbo Carnivore Sticks, Hikari Carnivore Sticks, which is the smaller version of that, Cyclic Gold, and Massivore Delight. That is my main diet. I've been feeding these fish that food for years, and it's been working great. I just tried it out because I heard a lot of reviews about it, and now my fish are stuck to it. They won't eat anything else. I've tried a number of different foods, and their favorite is Hikari. And if you look at them, they definitely look at them back there. I told you in my last video, that fish room tour, that the two of the Ahi were pairing up, and look at them. They definitely are pairing up, and they're starting to take on one fish at a time, and once they become confident, they will lay eggs. And look at my Mayan. He's been trying to battle them, and look at those scars. So it is getting pretty fired up. But if you look at their colors, the food has been doing a decent job sustaining them, allowing them to be nice and healthy. But yeah, first off, we're going to feed my 880. So I am going to be feeding a little bit extra. I have shrimp and bloodworms and everything, but I like to feed just the pellets first, just because the pellets make sure they get their nutrients. Because the shrimp that I'm feeding, it is frozen, and you know, when you freeze foods you lose a lot of the nutrients. So we have that, and then we also have some Massivore Delight. Then we have my 2 catfish. Now that the Red Devil is not in this tank, these guys are a lot more confident. I love, look at that, you can just, look at my Polypterus. The Red Devil is a huge difference now that he's gone, because these guys are free. I'll put a little bit more of those pellets in there. I just wanted like at least 5 or 6 to reach the bottom, and that way my bottom dwellers could definitely get some. And you can see it's really hard for these pellets to actually reach the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed shrimp to those guys, and then maybe come back again with more pellets. Before I start feeding shrimp, I do want to make sure I feed Anonymous, because once I start feeding those big guys, it's easy to just use all of it. So I'm going to go ahead and toss some a little piece. He's doing a lot better. I told you he was depressed, and he's definitely coming around to his normal self. Nice and aggressive, but that's him. And then I'll come over to these guys, and as I told you, they're becoming a lot more bolder when it comes to eating. So we have one piece of shrimp. Temensis. That was the first time ever the Temensis took something directly from my hand. Usually I put my hand in there for this guy. Then we have the Temensis recently have been going like crazy, and so much so that when I feed these raw foods, I can barely get into my two jaguars. There's a Temensis. That was to the Ocelot, to Mono. I want to give one to my Orinoco. So where's the Orinoco? Orinoco likes to be over here. That's the Orinoco back there. Temensis. And these guys have no limit. It's crazy how much they can eat. Temensis again. It's almost like they're competing, the Temensis with the Mono. Now I want to get some to my jaguars, and I gotta save one because my goose knife back there is waiting for me. So I'm gonna toss one down there. And these two, they don't allow any of the other fish to get in me. Well, so far they both had like 3, and I still can't get any to my jaguars, who look like they're actually down there trying to breed. I guess they don't want anything, because if they wanted something they would be up higher. Up here the Mono. He just ate the one that was intended for my ghost knife. See, I try my best to balance out because I know certain fish are picky eaters, and I want to give them all the opportunity to get a ghost knife. But this is all I have for the ghost knife, because I dropped that last piece in and the Mono grabbed it, and it was intended for the ghost knife. The ghost knife could eat an entire piece of shrimp himself. He's a big fish. He's 16, 17 inches, so he can eat a lot. And unfortunately today, that's all he's gonna get, because those peacock bass just have no limit, as I told you guys. So yeah, that's them. They get a feeding like this twice a week. Normally not that much. Normally I do a better job at balancing who gets what, but because I have a camera, it's hard to fight them off, because normally I gotta use one hand to fight off the 2 peacock bass, the Mono on top and the Temensis down below, and then I use my other hand to try to feed the jaguars and the bottom dwellers. And I'm gonna get some more Massive or Delight. Let's see if we can get some to our catfish. We have a few more. They just ate all that, so let's hope that these can reach the bottom. But of course, these guys are greedy. We do have a few going down here, and these are for my cats. And I definitely appreciate these catfish. They don't get too big, they're not too aggressive, and I see them. Most catfish come in the tank and you like barely see them. These guys swim around and they look pretty cool. They both are about 12 inches. Well, maybe he's 12 inches and the one over there is like 13 inches, but they're not going to get too much bigger than this, and they're really cool catfish. Okay, the 2 jags. Pretty soon we're going to have to take these out. Right now the female she's still resisting the male, but pretty soon I believe she's going to submit. They've been fighting too. If you look at the male, his mouth is kind of scarred. She has some bruises too, but she's still resisting. But pretty soon I believe they will be paired up, and that's when they're going to go upstairs. Okay, so now we have my 350-gallon aquarium. I used to feed shrimp to this tank as well. However, with all these fish, it became too much of a competition. But certain fish, especially this guy, he loves shrimp. So eventually, he's likely going to go over to the 880 where you can eat that shrimp diet continuously. But today we have some bloodworms. I don't really do this too often, but I'm going to do it today. And they like the little taste of it. They all get a decent portion. It is pretty small for some of these fish, so for most of them it's just a tease. But it's nice to see all their colors, and it's like a different flavor for them. Now there is a new fish in this tank that I put in earlier today, and let's see if he comes out. I just love the color in this aquarium. Imagine when these fish are bigger. It's definitely going to be quite the show. Now the new fish, I saw him back there. I don't know. Some of my favorites include that Madagascar cichlid. He's one of the boldest fish I can stick my finger in. Normally he comes, right now he's distracted by all the bloodworms, but normally he comes up like you see here and he gives me a little peck. Now these guys, these are the fish that eat the Hikari food sticks, the smaller version of the jumbo pellets. And I'm going to toss them in there. And then I'll follow up with some sinking cichlid gold. And like I said, this is definitely the best feeding when it comes to just the color. Well, maybe not the color because my African cichlids look awesome as well. But I love feeding this tank just because of the diversity. You have nice colors, but I think the diversity of color is really why this tank sticks out. Oh, that's the new fish back there. Mesoharis teste. I wanted the female because I want her to eventually grow up and live with these guys, but unfortunately that looks like a male. It is wild caught, and right now the fish are trying to put it in this place. It's the smallest fish at about 3 inches, so everybody is trying to put it in this place. The big guy is actually trying to eat it, but hopefully 2 weeks in he'll be on the same size as those guys right there, and he should fit in pretty well. I think I actually overdid it with the pellets because normally they clean up these pellets in like 2 minutes, and right now they're still there. I guess because I have the camera, it's a little bit harder to estimate how much food to get with one hand. But these guys, they definitely will finish it. Look at the Argentina, it's definitely a gorgeous fish. Madagascar in the back. These two fish are kind of like yin and yang. We have the white with the black, and then we have the black with the white, although that's more of a blue right now. But that blue, those blue speckles, they change sometimes, and sometimes she looks black and white. Then we have the bala sharks. I love the bala sharks. Now normally these guys will go crazy for the bloodworms. Before I watched them, and they actually have their tail fins sticking out the water trying to get those bloodworms, kind of resembling actual sharks. But of course with the camera they're going to be a little bit shy. We have my Jack Dempsey. This guy is about 5 years old. Very gorgeous fish. My leaf fish. I bought that guy the same time I bought my Cyclamano peacock bass, this big guy at this aquarium, so they're the same age. Now while these guys are grazing, I have my baby koi down there. And so I have some algae flakes from Fluval, so I'll just go ahead and take a little pinch. This container is actually stupid. I can't like reach anything. I don't know why they chose to make a container like that. I just take some and I try to grind it as small as possible. And that is for my baby koi. And I try to feed these guys 2 to 3 times a day, just to help them grow. And it's algae, so algae doesn't really have too much of a bad effect when you feed a lot of it. And Donimus over here, he's still not satisfied, so I'll give him some pellets. We have 3 pellets of the jumbo carnivore sticks. And it's good for him to eat the pellets as well because he has that female convict in here surviving. And she survives off the crumbs that come out of his mouth. I don't feed her directly. I feed him, and he's a messy eater, so when he spits out all the crumbs, she goes and she cleans up after him. Maybe he's not noticing it, but he'll get it later. And you see right now all those pellets are gone. But yeah, that is the 350. Okay, so finally we have my African cichlid tank. These guys, they definitely put on a nice show when they're hungry. Just love the color. I could go stick my hand in there and they all just like clutter on my hand. My camera is just not focusing, but definitely a nice group of fish, especially during feeding time. So with these guys, I mix it up a little bit, and mainly based on their size. I have 3 different sizes. You have the adults, you have the medium size, and then you have the tiny little babies in the back. So for the medium size, I feed New Life Spectrum cichlid pellets. These things are like extremely tiny. I follow up with some Cichlid Gold from Akari, and this is the mini size, because even these adult and Bona are pretty small compared to the other fish, so they get the mini pellet. And then finally, for my tiny little babies in the back, I go ahead with the Fluval Veggie Flakes to top it off. And you see the baby yellow lab in the back. We have a baby ACI back there. And this right here, again, the stupid top and me with one hand, it's hard to get a real good grip. But I just let it come out as dust. The big guys, they like the taste of it, but that's really meant for those little babies in the back. You see in the back the little fry that survive. And that is the African cichlid tank. This is one of my favorite things to feed when it comes to color, because that color inside of a bait ball or a feeding ball or feeding frenzy is pretty cool. Okay everyone, so we can finalize it with one more feeding. My last group of monster fish, my koi. These guys are definitely monsters. Right here in the front, that platinum one, the butterfly, that is the biggest one, and I think it's about, I'd say 17 inches. So definitely a monster fish. So let's toss that in there.